Hello, hello. This is Michael Ensor with Advertising Report Card. Today, we're going to be doing a deep dive into Facebook ads for a moving company. That moving company is Brooks Moving and Hauling in Jupiter, Florida. So first and foremost, Advertising Report Card is a service that dives deep into accounts to provide an overview strategy for any existing accounts in order to help them scale, fixing errors, finding things that could really boost accounts, and just overall looking at what the capabilities are for the company to generate revenue online. In this instance, we actually have a Facebook ad account running. If there was not an account running, we would still be able to do a real good review of all the competitors to come up with actionable strategies for launch. So in this instance, we already have an account. Let's dive right in. First of all, one of the things I wanted to go over that we rarely go over in videos, but wanted to make a point here because it's something that we came across while doing the initial access stage of starting the report, which is getting a hold of all the accounts and just making sure that everything lines up. And what we found was that the owner of the business had acquired this company from someone else. So he's the admin, and the person he acquired the business from is no longer associated with the page. So he has access to the page as admin with the page ID right here. And then we also have the ad account ID. But the problem is that the actual business account number that is owned is linked to the person who initially created the account. So when you go to look at things like partner requests, anybody on the account now, even at admin level, gets stuck at this stage, basically saying the page owner. So the original owner. You can go to admin dispute request. That page actually doesn't work. So the thing is, this is what the actual error is when you go to that page. The problem with this is that maybe down the line, if something came up with ownership rights or whatnot, or if an ad caused the account to go down and you had to apply for it to go live again or whatever reason, you just want to have full ownership. You never want to come to a point to where you build up your page and you build up your marketing funnel to any asset and then lose it because of something like, not filling out the right form. So that's the first thing I wanted to start with. This is a very common problem. I would say anybody who's ran ads on Facebook, I'd say like probably 50% of people have worked with various companies or worked with various owners, and various people have created different assets. So things get mixed up a lot. It's really important to just line it all up though. So you heard it here first. Get these accounts organized because you never want to lose anything later down the road. The next thing I wanted to talk about was separate ad accounts. So what you can see here is on the actual page itself, there are two different businesses with two different Facebook pages running ads in the same account. One's a real estate company, and then the other one's the moving company. The problem with this is that real estate in general is a tricky ad category that can cause ads to get flagged, and you don't want to get an ad flagged in an account because it can cause all the account to have to pause all their ads until you apply for an appeal. So that in itself, real estate in general, you can see the special ad category is actually not even declared on these ads, which is also against terms of service on Facebook. You want to have this housing category checked. But in general, you're not really wanting, Facebook recommends you have a different ad account per page running ads just to keep things, again, organized. You don't want some other page to cause impacts on some other page that's unrelated. So splitting these up is the first thing I would absolutely do as well. And while we're in here, let's hop in and start looking at the ads. First thing I want to do is pop open ads reporting. It's a lot better than looking at the table. Highly recommend getting very used to this reporting dashboard instead. It's what most marketing managers should be using. I don't know a lot of people that utilize this to its full ability. So in addition to going over a unique thing at the beginning with ownership, we're also going to go through a unique thing here, which is reporting. So in this account, I got it set to maximum, and I have set columns. These columns show all of the different stats that I want to look at as far as performance goes. This is a custom set of columns. If you need help setting this up, you can use this video. I'll do a quick walkthrough right now. So campaign, ad set, and ad name. Delivery, to make sure that what you're looking at is actually active or running. It's the first thing is, on or off. And then the schedule, so you know if it was scheduled or if it was on and off. And then amount spent, results, cost per result, and result rate. These stats are essentially your conversions, your cost per conversion, and your conversion rate. And then your conversion is what the campaign goal is. So you got link clicks, messaging conversions, and on Facebook lead form leads. So we have 3 different types of ads that have ran. Again, these are real estate. We also have post engagement campaigns. The messaging campaign looks like it's for the moving company, and then this one does as well. So keeping it moving. First thing you can see here is the actual amount, and then the cost per result again, and then the result rate, conversion rate, but then CPM. So CPM is cost per 1,000 views. It's how Facebook charges. Facebook does not charge per click like Google Ads. They charge per 1,000 views of an ad. Keep that in mind when we go through these stats, because you can see here, this is part of the same ad set, 2 different ads, but this one is 50% more expensive. Why would 2 ads in the same ad set have such different costs? We're going to dive into that. So you can see here we have a good CTR, about 2%, not terrible for Facebook. Anything below 1.5% is going to be an issue. Both of these are above, which is good. The cheaper ad had a lower CTR, but of course, cheaper CPC because the CPM is lower. And then we also have some engagements. One thing to note here is that engagements itself is a beefed up number. Pretty much anything related to like touching your phone, if you see an ad, they're going to count as an engagement. It's really kind of a bad metric. The real engagements you're looking for are actual actions that people can take on your ad. Comments, reactions, saves, and shares. I really like the save post. It means people are either interested in your business. This could be, one of 3 things. A competitor sees your ad and likes it and wants to save it for later. Maybe a marketing person does, and then that's like maybe 10% or less of the people that'll save a post. 90% of people are actually interested in the offer. So this is a great metric. And then shares, of course, if you can get people to share your ad, it's just free real estate, pun intended. So scrolling down past now to the video plays section, you can see here, these are the messaging conversions down here, which it seems that there's 4 forms filled out. Cheap form conversions in a sense, but the actual information filled out was just name, email, phone. There was no instruction on the actual form itself. So I'm not sure what came of those leads. Big thing to pay attention here is the actual video stats. So remember how I said, why is this ad 50% more expensive than this ad? Well, people are watching the ad that didn't get as much love as far as spend more. You can see here on this actual stats, video 25%, 50, 75, and 95, neck and neck at the beginning, and then it's almost half fall off. Well, I'd say like 30%, 30, 40. And then you can see here almost half as well, 40% fall off. And then you can also see here the cost to get the actual view, much cheaper. So while the CTR might be a little bit less, the CPC is cheaper, and the cost for the video view also cheaper. Through plays is the 15-second mark. This is the qualifier for Google and Facebook as far as what they think video ads. If you can get someone to watch for 15 seconds and past that, you're golden. You can even pay for 15-second ads on Google as an example. 15 seconds seems to be a real big crux point for videos. And then you also see the 3-second. So you have 3 seconds, and to get past the 3-second mark is also a big KPI. And you can tell these are important. Why? Because it's what Facebook and Google are tracking. It's not like these metrics are, I didn't custom select these percentages. These are actually go-to counts used for optimizing the ads. And last but not least, some very easy stat updates, just quality ranking, engagement, and conversions. I think this also says a lot. The quality ranking of the ad is better, and then the conversion ranking was above average. Facebook gave a cheaper CPM to this ad because it has a higher quality. So just to run back what we've talked about so far on this section is use the reporting tool, absolutely. In addition to that, we have also found a few things, including the fact that the ads running right now could be improved greatly just by letting this guy get a little bit more spend. Of course, this is just top of funnel, and there's only 2 ads running. So like there's a whole list of things that we can do in addition to this. But just to say in general, that is one switch out of the gate that could benefit the account. Next, what we're going to do is hop in and take a look at what we are targeting. So first of all, let's just go into the campaign real quick and take a peek at the settings. Of course. While recording live, you got to push the wrong buttons. That's how it works. All right, hopping into the campaign. You see here we have no special ad category, which is great. This is moving. You don't need it. Campaign name. Would optimize the labels on this by changing the names of the campaign ad sets and ads to make it easier to know what's running, especially when we launch a lot more ads. No spending limit on the campaign. Depending on how you want to run your campaigns, you can do spending limit or not. I recommend doing spending limit every month because it lets you do special things that you can't do without a spending limit. Like, for instance, if you add a spending limit, you can actually change what time of day your ads are shown, which over time is something you can optimize for. Like once you get 100 ads, if there's a specific time of day that really is good, and sometimes the days that are bad, you can move your ads around. Just depends on what type of campaign you're running. But you cannot do that when it's on none added as far as the campaign spending limit. You cannot change your scheduled time, which is called day parting, by the way, if anyone ever says that to you. Campaign budget optimization is on, which is great. Campaign bid strategy, lowest cost. Run ads all the time. Again, as you can see here, scheduling is only for lifetime budget campaigns. So popping into the ad set level, let's take a look and see what we're targeting. Scrolling on down, first thing I notice is dynamic creative is off. Always recommend using dynamic creative unless you're have to run one specific type of ad, because you should always be tweaking and A/B testing your ads. Dynamic creative makes that very easy. We have no end schedule. All right, so now what we're looking at as far as targeting goes, first thing I would say is this is a lot of area to target for one geo. Reason being is that you're targeting Jupiter, so that's the idea, right? Jupiter in itself is like here. Then you get yourself down in the Palm Beach area where you will want to address yourself to the Palm Beach and West Palm Beach people with the name of their actual city in the ads, and make sure that the context of the ad that you're showing makes sense. Same with Stewart. I would even go back into the other region over here as well and map that out or exclude it. And then I would also do a zip code check. Anybody in a specific area that you don't want to work with because maybe they're looking for specific things, or they don't have the budget that it would take to hire you. As an example, you don't want to waste ads in areas like that. So, making sure that you are doing that is important. Also, people living in this location or people recently in this location. So that's one limiting factor, which I honestly think is good because you're trying to work with the local people in general. You're not trying to find people looking in Jupiter to move from other cities with this campaign, which, again, if you did want to do that, you could do living in or recently in this location. But in general, I think, you're going to want to splice this geo up a few different ways and then address it differently, because you can also change the bids and the budget based off of what cities are spending the most. I would imagine that population density wise, West Palm here is probably spending the majority of your budget, even though you might not want it to. That is because you're targeting all these cities in one geo. Florida can be tricky like that too, by the way. If you're in these major cities like Fort Lauderdale, you can use 5 to 10 mile radiuses and still be outside of what you're trying to hit. Speaking from someone who is in Florida right now, custom audiences is a whole other aspect that needs to get developed in the account. Right now, there are no audiences in this account. There's no lookalike audiences. There's no custom audiences. There's no lookalike audiences based off of custom audiences. So lots of things definitely need to get built out, because then you can structure your middle of funnel, which is something we're going to get into here shortly as well. Age is another thing to break out. You don't want to target the entire span of everybody alive over the age of 18. Definitely gearing towards specific demographics. And in this instance, I would imagine like the 36 to 55, and then 55 and plus is going to be like your majority market. So you can kill pretty much all ads to the younger generation unless you see yourself doing a lot of that work. But in the Jupiter area, you're not going to have that really. So I would definitely adjust the ages and the targeting, and then you can also prioritize the budget towards your areas more that way as well by having different campaigns. Reason being is that you probably want to make sure your Jupiter demographics are saturated so you can get your closest to market sales. And then, if you want to drive 30 minutes down the street to get a job in West Palm, you can as well, but you might not want to spend your entire budget the same way on both of those targets. You can split men and women out. It's not something that you would do out of the gate. This is further down the road. Once you optimize all your other targeting, then you can change the context of the this is for the service, local contractor service industry, specifically for moving, by the way. Because if it's like a jewelry ad, you're going to have the gender split up with different contexts. But for this instance, you don't need to. You'd be more inclined to optimize for age. And then maybe if you wanted to get funnier down the road and have an ad with like an old guy clutching his back and his old wife looking at him all grumpy like and saying like something like, make sure Ethel gets Henry a mover this time or something like that, just trying to play on the market. But that's really down the line stuff that you can get creative with once you have your actual funnel built out. But that's the idea behind splitting out genders for like a contractor service. On the detailed targeting, definitely a lot of options there as well. I have a couple of notes in here as well that I took, but I wanted to just show you real fast directly in the actual account. There's a lot of different things that you can go after as far as moving goes. So just an example right here, and this is like a quick and dirty one, but just to give like a quick breakdown of one of the many options. First of all, you got moving company, which people who have interest in moving companies extremely vague. And one example of that, and why I don't necessarily recommend ever using additional interest without having a very specific exclusion strategy, is this. So moving companies, one big bucket, right? And inside those bucket, there's all these different types of buckets, like people who work for moving companies, or people who have interest in hiring a moving company, or maybe somebody has a family member that works for a moving company. It's just a big bucket in general, and it's not specific at all. It's just more specific than not any targeting at all, which we don't have in place right now. As you can see, this account has no targeting. But with the moving company, the two buckets that come to mind immediately are people that are actually working in the industry. So this demographic is basically collecting anybody you can see here, like driver, operator, sea captain, flight attendant, anybody working in this industry. You can assume, you might want to target them for help if you're looking to do a specific special, but it doesn't really make any sense. This is a great exclusion to add. Not excluding this would mean your moving company, you'd be showing ads to people that have no interest in moving, just people who are somehow 7 degrees away from it. But with recently moved, this is something where people have recently moved in the past 6 months. Another great group to exclude, because they're not going to be needing your help exactly. But then you also have some things like relocating. So people are interested in relocation, might be great for targeting. But again, if you don't have those exclusions that we had just discussed, then you're going to be marketing to that entire bucket versus just a little piece of that bucket. So we're going to go ahead and get rid of that. And then there's the exclude section. So another thing too about excluding, which this can be done for literally any account, is anybody in the marketing industry really. Because if you're looking to avoid serving ads to people who are just going to solicit you with services, getting rid of the advertising people is a great way to eliminate that as well. So that's one exclusion. Also, there's ways that you can make custom lists. Like if there's like a list of people you don't want to target ads with for whatever reason, you can upload that as a custom list and exclude it as a custom audience. And then in addition to that, one of the things I recommend is, where'd my suggestions go? One second. First day. Again, furniture mover, like people that you can exclude from your ads. Likewise, if you wanted to do a recruiting ad, which is one of the strategies I was going to discuss in a bit, you could also target this type of demographic. But I feel like you probably get the picture by now. So just to kind of recap, there's a lot of audiences, but if you just target audiences without using reduction, you're going to blow a lot of ad budget on people who are not interested. Likewise, there are specific audiences that I can piece together that will target people who are relocating within 6 months. So that way you can target the type of people who are really going to need your service with ads. This is a prospecting strategy, by the way. You're doing outreach basically to the market, and it's not like you're remarketing to people who have already engaged with you. So that's why those audiences really come into play. Detailed targeting expansion, I never recommend using anymore. Don't use it ever. All languages, I like to actually pick the languages. Reason being is that it's more of an optimized campaign if you actually fill in all the settings. So I always select English or English and Spanish, especially in Florida, depending on if you want to service the Spanish community. Just make sure that you can speak Spanish as well, the Latin community. Show more. Let's see if there's anything else that we can pull apart in here. Connections. This is one thing too that you can do. People who like or follow your page, people who similar, and then there's some other options as well. But the main thing is that this is another way to reduce and test. With what I'd recommend above between the regional age split outs, I mean, you're already looking at like 16 ad sets and probably a couple different campaigns. So, to each his own. I wouldn't use this until later on. Placements. Ad sets can't be edited. Weird. So I've not seen this before. Basically, what it's saying is that this was created on the actual page. Let's go ahead and take a look. So Facebook has just continued to wow me with how confusing it is. While it's became a very powerful system on the back end, like allowing us to do things like really cool reports, it does stupid stuff like creates different backends that they change like every 6 months to try to see if they can like improve things. And again, while they've improved things, they've also made stuff worse. This is a perfect example of that. So this is the ad center, which it looks like these ads that we're looking at were actually created in the ad center. They weren't created in the actual ads manager. What that means, not a lot, other than the fact that we can't actually modify the placements on the ad set, which is ridiculous because this affects the ads regardless if you create it here or there. Long story short, we can't actually look at the placements. I'm still going to talk about placements because this is exactly what's happening. Is automatic placements is applied to this ad set for whatever reason, one created in the ad center. Never create ads in the ad center. Okay, that's my walk away point from this. Never use this section ever. It just looks like it handicaps things. But what I was going to say is the actual placements you would want to test. So first of all, you want to just get the timeline placement. Get your ads where most people are looking at ads on their desktop or on their phone where the posts are. If you have winning ads, add placements. Create new ad sets with the winning ads, with the winning targeting and audiences and exclusions and regional targeting and all that jazz that we just talked about. And then add the different placements on the new ad set. You'll see that 90, or I would say like law of 80-20, 80% of the placements on Facebook are trash. Like 20% of the placements that Facebook places ads is like 80% of the return. So you don't want to waste any budget off of the newsfeed until you have what you're doing dialed in. Once it's dialed in, you can explore different stuff. Like, Instagram stories is a great way to explore ads that have that TikTok. Wow, I'm an old person now. TikTok format for video ads. And then there's also like the news feed, and then Facebook has a display network as well. So there's a lot of things that you can target outside of the news feed, but you got to start, with the good old phrase, finish your breakfast. Make sure that what you're doing is already going to be crushing it when you move to the next placement. And then you're getting charged for impressions. So it's normal. So basically that's the pull apart on the audience and the targeting. I would definitely have multiple campaigns. I'm thinking I would have a campaign for each region and then build out what you're targeting in each region as well, because maybe the services you offer in Jupiter are more common than in West Palm. One thing that I noticed that's unique that might be different per the region you're targeting is safe movers. And then also like packaging. I don't know. I mean, it could be different. It would be more of like a strategy to see which would work. But, also marketing specific services is a key part of the strategy. So without taking too long, I'm going to jump into a few of the competitors that were listed. One was Blue Line Moving. The main thing that I think that's really interesting with this company is they have a lot of activity on their history of the page with the ads that they paid for, but a lot of the ads are heavily political. And whether you like this or like that, you know what I mean. It's just at the end of the day, polarizing your audience can work by being polarizing, by splitting your audience 50-50. 50% is going to hate you, 50% is going to love you if you do that. But it's always a risky thing this day and age. You can see today's cancel culture. It's like, why, if you want to put yourself out there, but why put your business out there? If you do a post or posts, you know what I mean, like it's not gonna kill you, but I mean this is excessive. We have a lot of political ads. As you can see here, it's just like a lot. Some of this stuff looks like, I like this, for instance. He went 3 days to the southern border of Del Rio, Texas. Granted, it's like a hot topic. I think that it shows authenticity. If like you're doing something that you think is a cause, at least like posting your own video and writing something about it. But I don't know how much budget I would spend behind it. Here it says about 400. So yeah, just a little bit of feedback there as far as the direction goes. Another competitor we looked at was Good Greek Moving. Now these guys, as had spoken before, they're a big company, but they also have really good marketing. So it's not like you have to be a big company to have good marketing. You can always just look at what your competitors doing and see the different types of things you can emulate. One thing that's really awesome about their one of their ads is that they're the official movers of NASCAR team, which I thought was interesting. Celebrity endorsement. They probably just like stumbled upon that lead, and then they were like, "Oh, you're a NASCAR," and then they probably built a relationship like that way. But I thought that was interesting. Figuring out different types of businesses you can work with in the area, locally in Jupiter, as an example, and do something where you're official movers of this company or this team or whatnot. I know that they have spring season baseball. I'm just thinking out loud. But as far as these guys go, they have ads running. They have their branding. They have some interesting call outs to people who are going to be moving into Florida. So maybe people visiting Florida looking to buy a home. They're targeting that as an example. You can check the ad details and see if it's going to give us any details. It's not. It's great. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. And then also they have different images of their team. This strategy that they have, minus having a NASCAR driver in one of their video ads, is easily replicated. There's nothing proprietary about any of this. So another thing too I wanted to highlight is that this is actually a hiring ad. So if you were looking to hire in the area, that is something that you can run a very small budget out and just have people fill out the form, which in the contracting space, anything from the chimney to the roof when it comes to companies that service things, including moving companies, sometimes staff can come and go or flex depending on season. So it's important to always have, potential candidates coming in. So overall summary of the Facebook strategy is, of course, videos and images are really big, but the branding video that had already ran in the account got better performance than the generic one that started out with the ocean. Granted, Jupiter's beautiful and that ocean video is awesome. The music's good too and everything. It's just the personal touch is really what's going to win people over. So I would highly recommend doing these different strategies. And then another thing too that I noticed about these ads is that it looks like a lot of these are targeting specific people with like direct offers, which again, not a terrible thing. Definitely it has its place in the marketing mix. I don't see any real specific service ads. So this one is decent because it has like the office angle. But there's also a lot of services that you offer in addition. I think packaging is reflected in this image, but I think that there could be more done there with just images. Like you don't have to you can make a video for each of these. That's going to be great for your website and SEO in general to have, an individual page for all of that. But having a video just with, even if it's like stock video, but just showing the packing and then like maybe listing some of the benefits of the packing, and then the commercial, like listing some of the types of things you move and the storage, and then having like a safe video. Reason being is that if people visit those pages on your website, which I know you're going to have individual pages for these. I don't see a safe page, actually. The safe services isn't on here. Yeah, there we go. I would definitely clean this up, this area, so the promo looks a little easier to read. And in addition to that, I would probably swap the button out, change the font a little bit as well, maybe add a little bit of copy, and maybe some type of term of service or something, maybe like a little benefit snippet, but definitely change this out. Not a terrible idea since you have a floating header. I would probably reduce the logo size so that it makes this area narrower, and I'd have something centered at the top with this promo so that every page that they're on, they see a little promo up there. And then that button should do the request quote page, which is the on queue page. Another thing too is absolutely figure out if we can add tracking code to the on queue for Google Analytics, Google Ads, and Facebook, so we can actually track conversions all the way through. We'd have to do multi-domain setup, which is unique. Another thing that we want to track is any type of click to this outbound link should be considered some form of like event that maybe not a conversion because maybe they didn't fill out the form, but that's an action that we could track people take, and we can hopefully remarket to them if they do hit that button and maybe they don't convert. I would definitely beef up the content on this page, maybe change the text a little bit for the sizing. I would see if you can get some different images in here as well, maybe more than just the one image. And then also maybe see if we can get some 4K stuff in there because we want to do some image mixing too. Like if you have images on the page, they should be able to translate somewhat into ads. Like we can run this on Facebook, but it's not 100%, I would show more images. Yeah, it's just a quick teardown on that. But yeah, got a little off topic on the landing page optimization, but the main thing is that each service page is something that people can visit. I would have this service, when you hover over it, drop down to the different service pages so people can easily get to what they're looking for. Right now, you have to actually click to the service page to then find a selection, and then also the selection's missing safe movers as a service. All these services should be reflected. Oh, safe and piano. That's right in front of my face. I would split this out, safe movers and piano movers services, and just have an individual page for each service where you can have a picture of piano and a picture of a safe. Having a picture of a safe on the piano page doesn't make sense, so combining these doesn't either. And then people who are looking to move a piano aren't necessarily looking to move a safe. So with that being said, when people visit these individual pages at this URL, we can then also remarket specific service ads back to them. So it's not just about moving, we'll help you with your furniture and whatnot. Okay. 2 more things on the site. I would also add a chat bot. So if anybody is wanting to ask a question, they can send a chat that'll automatically get sent to somebody. You can add the Facebook chat bot to have it send you a page messenger if you want something free, cheap, and easy. Or if you get a CRM that can funnel leads, you can also do that as well. And last but not least, I don't always recommend this, but I don't know how long people are really reading the content on these. They're probably looking to contact you immediately without really diving into Look what I just found. Yeah, so this logo on, I guess this page was recently published with some new updates. The logo of the website itself is linking to the staging domain right here. That is not good for SEO. Definitely make sure to reach out to your team to have that updated as soon as possible. Make sure, yeah, you know what? Honestly, I would have them pull a Screaming Frog report and look at all inbound and outbound links, because if that one issue is there, there might be some other little link hiding somewhere else. I would see what this one. See, this one's linking to the correct page. This one's not, the main navigation one. Where there's smoke, there's fire. Make sure that they don't just fix this, that they actually comb through every single link on the website, which is not difficult. They just need to pull a report. The Screaming Frog, by the way. You can do this as well. It's super easy. It's an SEO tool. It's free. All right. So, yeah, definitely some things on the site that need to get fixed. But to kind of rehash what we're talking about is audience targeting on Facebook needs to be a lot more specific. The advertising angles, there's the hiring one, but then as far as the new lead gen, using personal content is going to be better than using stock content of people carrying boxes. So trying to get more images of your team working. I would highly recommend incentivizing your workers to take pictures and video and upload them to a Google Drive folder or something. And like whoever takes the best picture of the week gets a slice of pizza, whatever. The main thing is just having a constant content fueling. And also, I don't know how much you guys would want to teach them, but if somebody takes pictures, just anything's better than nothing. We can always run those into ads and then fill up your page too, because you're going to need the extra content for SEO. There's a million stock content about moving stuff though as well. So in the lieu of you getting those images from your team, finding content online to run ads with won't be an issue. Alrighty. Last but not least, A1 Moving has no ads. So this company has a lot of reviews on Google, and this looks like they're just running organic traffic. I think that maybe they got burnt a few times on ads and just didn't want to do it, or maybe they never wanted to advertise, or maybe they don't know how, maybe they don't care. But they're not running ads, so they are not competition to you. Meanwhile, I did find several other competitors that are going after your keywords for local and Jupiter. So there are competitors out there. Just I think you have a lot of room to grow into the Facebook space. I think that a CPM of 10 to 15 bucks is super low. So I think that there's definitely a huge opportunity to get some market share from social. Also in the report, just wanted to add that I actually did a quick pull down of the real estate ads for feedback, just in case you wanted to take a look at some of the feedback I had for these ads. It's not really a part of what this video is for, but figured I'd show you. Also on the lead ad, I wanted to point out, the cost per lead, $12, $16, and $44. The $12 was, $24 before the campaign got shut off. So it's not like this was printing leads. It only has 2. So there really wasn't a lot of space to average out. Main thing on this is it was under $150 per lead, which qualified lead in the contractor space, $150 if you could just pay for that to get a job, probably would. If the job was good. Full name, email, phone number. There's really no instruction here or what's going to happen when they enter their information, and there's no additional info they have to enter. This is automatically populated from Facebook. So you can click a button to fill out a form, and it'll automatically be populated, and you can send. So thank you, you're all set. You can visit our website or exit the form now. There's no button to click to the website. There was no button link added. So anybody who filled this form out probably forgot they did within 5 minutes. It's part of Facebook's passive impact on your memory. People mindlessly scroll through stuff, and sometimes they look at ads and open things and like stuff, and it kind of just becomes a blur, and it's subconscious a lot of the time too. So forms really only work if you're going to engage that person within 60 seconds to 5 minutes, or you're going to lose that opportunity. It's rare when somebody remembers they filled it out if they're not instantly put onto either someone calling them immediately, getting an SMS, or getting a series of emails. In that order is where you're going to get your responses. Also, the placement, this is the thing I had talked about earlier. I'm just going through the report right now to kind of show you what I had written in here as well. There's just a little bit more pull down on the ads. You shouldn't have all these placements, instant articles, apps, in stream. These are just not the placements you want to do test. Feeds is where you start. And then some content feedback like call to action, missing headlines, different items in general. One of the things I would definitely want to run more is this pain agitation solution. It's called the PAS model. It's something that you did with the video that was performing better, making sure that you are identifying the pain points and fixing them, making sure that you know your customer and know what they want to hear, and then applying the solution is a great model. And it's a great one that can be done in 15 seconds with little videos snippeted together. So this is definitely a pathway to take that's already shown its ability to outperform generic direct offers. So this section is a quick custom section. I just wanted to highlight all the stuff that we discussed in this video and also give a couple more tips. First of all, the entire account, even on the one campaign itself, needs a complete rebuilding from the core settings optimization standpoint. Geo, age, placement, all of these things need to be broken out into different campaigns and different ad sets. It's not really about just running like the one ad that's going to win you the most leads. It's about having a system that you can really lean into and take your ad budget investment and steer it. You're just limited when you don't have the full ability being exercised with Facebook, and making sure that you pinpoint your core demographic before you go ham with creating a bunch of different ads is that you're going to waste a lot of time figuring out what ad works before you even realize that you're not even targeting the right person. So that's the core. That's my number one recommendation for the account. And that's kind of broken down in the audience section that was within the past 20 minutes. Thanks for listening to that. As far as the funnel structure goes, top of funnel is built. There's no middle of funnel or bottom of funnel. I would say top of funnel in this instance can be anybody on the lookalike audience side, which we're going to build. And then also as well, anybody in those audience targeting. Middle of funnel with this specific campaign, because it's just a service like moving. There's no real value ladder. It's just, you're looking for one specific service and you try to upsell on the actual sales call and the sales process. So the middle funnel would literally be engagements. Anybody on the ad, anybody who engaged with the ad at all. As you can see, there's a huge number for engagements, which again was kind of baloney. To kind of highlight what that was again for memory. Would be these types of engagements here. But with that said, also eliminating specific audiences and then trying to figure out if we can create events that we can track for these specific events as well on the middle of funnel. Reason being is if somebody engages with the ad and does not convert, then you're going to continue to serve them ads because they are narrow. Your CPM will go down, your cost per click will go down, and the people will already be familiar with your brand enough to where your ad is actually meaning to show them something beneficial. And middle of funnel, like calendar status, like you probably serve ads for anywhere between 7 and 30 days. I'd say 30 because I think people probably get ready to move and start looking into things. They probably don't. You're looking at people that are planning it. People are getting quotes and people are doing it last minute. I don't think you'd want to go longer than 30 days, but I wouldn't do like less than that either because again, it's like not something that people are always just spending one day deciding. And then you spend 29 days serving an ad to someone who's irrelevant. Likewise, anybody who converts, automatically exclude them from the campaigns. On that front as well, then there's bottom of funnel. Anybody who visits any specific page on the website. Anybody who takes any action that brings them to your website, you're going to be your bottom of funnel. Because if somebody's already called or submitted a form, they're considered a lead. They're no longer someone that you need to be serving ads to. So the website is going to be bottom of funnel for the final conversion action, which is booking a shipping or booking a moving. Ad strategy, wanted to spec this out as well. Things to exclude, things to include. Options like friends recently moved. So that's another thing too, is if you have somebody who has moved recently, maybe friends recently moved could be an idea of something that we could target. Again, this was just found in the screenshot, so I highlighted it. I'm not convinced on that one. Another thing too is the household income. In addition to targeting zip codes, which if you're in the housing category, like real estate, you can't do because it's called discrimination. But when you're in the service industry, you can target any zip code you want and don't want, as well as household income. So if you're doing high end stuff in Jupyter, you know what I mean, like testing against the income is definitely got to be a big thing you want to try. And you can also eliminate a lot of people. Example, the 18 to 30-year-old demographic. Let's say you want to target the rich youth. You can with this type of demographic. These are not perfect numbers. It's worth testing. It's not something that I would bet money on. And then also some different ad strategies as well. We went over a lot of unique things at the beginning of this, like the reporting and then also ownership. So I'm not going to spend much more time on this video going through these things, but this is all in the report, including the ad creatives. Image media is underutilized. We definitely need to throw more images in, especially at the middle of funnel. Once you got them hooked on that video and they saw who you are and heard your voice and saw your face, sending images of not just you but also the services you offer in that middle of funnel is going to be beneficial. Just mixing up images with video in general. Seeing if you can create some explainer TikTok video formats. I know it's kind of cliche for us older guys, but I mean that TikTok is absolutely a wave of the future, and the video formats are golden. Like just explaining what you do and using it and taking a video of your team and throwing captions or even that little robot voice on it. It's gonna get you engagement. Yeah. Also the remarketing. That's what the middle of funnel and bottom of funnel, that whole thing needs to get built out in addition to those campaigns that I discussed. So you got a lot of things to build out here. A lot of guidance. If you have any questions, let me know. As always, how advertising report card works is after this, we'll schedule a call to answer any questions that you have. And then from there, you can either take this guide and do it yourself, or you can bring it to your ad agency. Or if you want us to implement the changes recommended in this video, we'd be happy to help. If you have any questions, let me know. This is Michael Ensor with Advertising Report Card. Have a good one.